So, welcome to Speaker Co-working. I am Ron Story. I'm the head of membership and product at Speaker Hub. I'm joined today with Angela Lewis, who's the head of operations. And this is our daily call where we talk with speakers from around the world about getting booked for more gigs in order to promote their products or services. Um, at Speaker Hub, we don't mind if you get paid up front or if you don't get paid up front. We just want you to get paid. And that's our main thing. We love to work with keynote speakers that understand the sales process of getting booked for speaking gigs and new business owners who believe that speaking can be a great growth engine for their businesses. So, this is where we answer a lot of questions, um, take a lot of feedback for product development, and try to help you all while helping ourselves. So, let's open it up. Any wins? Any wins, loses or draws? Losses or draws, I guess that's what I would say. Win,
Yeah,
lose, or
I've
draw.
got
Y'all
one.
remember that? Lawrence, what's up?
Yep. So are you able to hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So on Monday, I have a call with a place out in, I'm trying to remember where. It's in Boston. Yeah, it's in Boston, Massachusetts. So it's a school there. And if all goes well, that'll be one of, that'll be another school I get to present to. I get to travel and just wins have been hitting me left and right lately.
No, that's a big deal, man. High five. Well, I think you muted yourself. If you were still talking, you
Now we're done talking. A car
okay.
just honked next to me.
Okay. Yeah, no, man. High five, dude. Just keep going. It's all about momentum. That's the one thing that we do know is that it's momentum. I was talking to um uh I can't shoot. She'll jump in here in a minute because I'm gonna but what we were based Valencia, I was talking to Valencia, and what she talked about, she says it's amazing that since I've been coming to these calls, I've been doing things differently than what I normally do. And the results have been amazing because I'm working on the right stuff, right? And it's amazing when you find oh, wait a minute, 80% of this stuff don't mean nothing. Right. I remember Raymar, we hired Raymar, who is over customer support. She came on as our social media person. And so we tried it. We said we're gonna post reels. And yeah, reels is the way to go. And yeah, that wasn't the way to go for me. So I'm like, look, we got to figure out what works because this reeling thing and taking these things and turning them into reels, just like I would produce reels. Ange and I, we would spend an hour a day recording videos. And I'm like, yeah, this is a waste of time. And then I said, well, what's the thing that we're already good at? Right. And how can we go more in on the things that I was really good at? So once you learn the things that you know work for you, you can get all the crap out the way and go in on that thing. And then everything changes. Right. So we went back to emailing people. He said, forget all this real stuff. Let's go into emailing. And we went back to what I knew, which was sending emails. Um, and then I doubled down and said, well, how do I get people's email addresses faster? This is going to take me a long time to get 60,000 people on my email list to opt in. Well, I got another skill called buying businesses. So I went and we bought Speaker Hub. Um, that was the other skill that I leaned on. I didn't go advertise about it. I just executed on what the skills that I knew gave me an advantage over everyone else. And um, so I want to talk about that later today to get into a little bit about how the minimum effective dose is really what we need. And it's a medical term, but it'll make sense as we go through it because a lot of times we're focused on trying to do all of the things because we're not confident in one thing. And I'll tell you something when you figure out the thing that works for you, all the rest of that stuff sounds like a language that you don't speak. You're like, nope, man, you know what you need to do? You need to do that. You're like, no, I'm doing this. But no, man, I'm telling you, if you just did that, it would be this. You're like, nope, I'm gonna stick to this. But no, but I heard one of my friends said, all you got to do is, yep, nope, I don't want to hear that. Right. And that's one of the biggest distractions for an entrepreneur because there are a lot of people giving us advice that haven't lived the advice that they're giving, right? So, what consequence do I have to give Jadika advice on something that I haven't lived? Nothing. If it don't work, don't bother me. I'm not affected. But if it doesn't work for her, it can cost her a month in business. She may have invested money into it, so she lost the money she invested. She may do something wrong and it affects her reputation. All of these things, she has all of these consequences because she decided to accept free advice or unfounded free advice, right? And here's the thing. Free advice is sometimes the most expensive advice you can get because it didn't cost you anything up front, but it cost you a lot on the backside because every time you're doing something that isn't working, it's time that you could have been spending on something that is working. So we hear sometimes I meet entrepreneurs and they know what I do and they ask, so man, what you working on these days? I'm like, oh, the same thing I was doing 7 years ago. But man, you ain't bought another business. I'm like, yeah, we did. We just folded it into this one. But no, man, why would you need 8 streams of income? I'm like, say who? Right? How many you got? You got a job, dude. Shut up. Like you don't even you barely holding on to this one stream of income that you're obligated to go to, right? So that finding that survey helps you to find that thing. It because what one of the questions is what? What's a problem you're willing to pay to make go away? Okay, so I can focus only in on that product. What's the way that we should market to people like you? Focus that in, right? If you were me, what would you sell to yourself? Now I'm really focused because I got over the dreamy thing, right? Oh, I would do this and it would look like this. Okay, what would you sell yourself? I would sell myself this. Cool. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is this thing that you said you would buy from yourself today. Does that make sense? So then once you get a stream of people like that, what you learn is, oh, it's not just people in the military, right? It's people in the military that are retired. And it's people that are in the military that are retired leadership, right? And you're like, yeah, it's people that are in the military that are retired leadership that are one of one, right? One of one. If we asked, I'm gonna ask Bart this since he's here. I'm asking you this question. How many military people have survived one of the situations that you were in your book?
Um, how many? That's a tough one. I'll say
Is,
people that
is it is it
die.
is it
And
millions?
no,
Is it thousands?
50.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? That's the person that should be speaking. Out of those 50, how many of them want to go on stage? Not many. Cool. Bart's one of one, maybe one of three at the most. But it's his perspective that makes it where he can say, look, I get paid this. Why? Because ain't nobody else out here talking about it. Everybody else didn't go through it. I got this one of one thing. Right. So now he's just competing with 50 speakers. At, if they all become speakers, maybe 5 people. And if they're not using Speaker Hub, they're Googling. So he has an advantage, right? If they're out there trying to find, a coach and they're paying them 10 grand, cool. Well, that's 10 grand he don't have to pay. So now he has 10 grand to spend on marketing instead of spending on the coach because he's a part of Speaker Hub and he gets equivalent coaching from us. Do you see what I mean? So the surveying, it's really important, guys, because it's the foundation of everything. And we still do it. That's why we do it. Because I'm like, I need the edge that the people on the front side who some people would say Talk It Out is one of our competitors. It's not. We don't even work with the same people. But on the front side, it looks like they're one of our competitors because they have QR software and we have Speaker QR. Does that make sense? We work with speakers on the front side, they work with speakers. A rail has a totally different audience of speakers that I would never be relevant to. Now, if you don't deal with speakers, you would never see that. I heard an example of this, which was amazing. And I grew up in St. Louis, so we get snow 6 months out of the year, right? Maybe it may snow in any of 6 months. It's gonna snow in 1 month, right? It's like 15 days in December through January, you're gonna get some snow, right? So we know it's gonna be really cold in those 45 days. But then I used to live in Norfolk, Virginia. And what I noticed is that I knew more about snow than the people in Norfolk, Virginia, because it would be 50 degrees, the sky would turn gray, it would start snowing, and they cancel the whole city. And I'm like, wait a minute, these are the big fluffy snowflakes and the sun out. This is gonna be melted in an hour. But they had never had that experience with snow to know that there's a different type of snow that sticks. And then there's like when it's cold outside and then it started to snow, it's going to stick. When it was hot and then it got cold that same day and started to snow, that snow going to melt because the clouds going to move and the sun going to melt the snow. Now, I know this is about snow, but imagine if I know that being from St. Louis in the Midwest more than the people who know about snow in Norfolk, Virginia. Imagine the types of snow that they know about in Alaska. They know, nah, this ain't that snow. This snow gonna be here for 3 weeks. When it's snow like this, we about to get 18 inches, right? Because they know like what the lead up to it looks like, what the being in the middle of it looks like, how it lands, the size of the flakes. We've all seen them big old flakes that land on your windshield and they gone as soon as they touch, right? If you're from the Midwest, you've seen that. You get the big flakes, they gone like right away. It's the little bitty ones and it's gray outside and it started raining first and then it snowed. Yep, it's about to be cold. Now, that same nuance is where we start as an entrepreneur. When we first start, we are the people in Virginia Beach, Virginia, looking at snow like, holy crap. Now, imagine the people in Medellin when they go to the States and they see snow for the first time. They've never seen snow. It's 75 degrees here every day. So they out there with a big coat on. And I'm like, dude, this stuff gonna be cold in 30 minutes. No, I need a coat because it's gonna snow. I want to see the snow. And they have no idea. But that's how we are as entrepreneurs or as speakers or whatever we are. That first contact with snow, we think we know it. And my first cousin, his name is Fred Kennedy. He was the CFO of Lipton and the director of supply diversity for PepsiCo worldwide. Harvard grad, Harvard MBA, really smart dude. He's since passed away, but he had a huge effect on me as a young business person because you go to Harvard, I'm listening. You CFO of Pepsi, I probably should listen, right? You the head of supply diversity um, at PepsiCo, I should probably listen to you, right? And he said, Ron, your biggest thing that you'll run into is something called synthetic genius. I was like, well, what the heck is synthetic genius? He said, the easiest thing you're going to do in entrepreneurship is make yourself the CEO. The hardest thing you're going to do is to remind yourself that just because you gave yourself that title as CEO, you don't know everything. And I said, that is genius. Because it is. You ever been talking to somebody and you say, hey, I don't think you should do that. This is my business. How you going to tell me? Yep, they did. Like, there's no way that I know more than my attorney. There's no way that I don't even know more about Speaker Hub than Angela. I ain't even at the meetings. Angela is talking to everybody. She knows our people better than me. Right? You see what I mean? Like I would be a fool to think that I know more than everybody on my team. Right? That's called synthetic genius. So the further we get into something, the more wise we become. So we find out, well, I've seen snow before. How you gonna tell me? Yeah, but you ain't never lived in Alaska. This dude know more about snow than you. I'm listening to the dude that has dealt with snow for the last 20 years, 10 months out of the year. He had 6 months where the sun didn't come up and it was dark. Yeah, I'm listening to him. Right? Because I think Alaska got that 6 month thing where half the year is just dark. Like, who wants to live like that? Right? But here's the point I'm making. The processes that we're giving you are the fundamental processes that will make you one of a few. Right? And the longer you do it, you become one of zero. Right? One of zero means that ain't no other one. Right? So the surveys that we do, because we got 63,000 customers in Speaker Hub, and we got another 57,000 in a LinkedIn group, and we got another 8,000 in another LinkedIn group. And then I don't know how many other email addresses of speakers that I can reach out to in other networks like Black Speakers Network, Black NSA, all these other groups that I can go talk to and go into their networks. I got our list of 18,000 customers that bought our course from the course company we bought in September, right? We got a whole set of data that just separates us from everybody else. So my perspective on speaking, when I say, hey, 90% of speakers don't make $50,000 a year from speaking. Nobody else has the balls to say that because they ain't got the data. Because you know how many people lied to us about that at first? So we would do the survey and we would tell you, put your name in first. And they would answer every question up into the income. They didn't want nobody to know that they weren't making that much. All the way up to how much you get paid per gig, they leave that blank. You're like, dude, why is it that 80% of the people stopping at this thing? And I said, Juliana, what should we do? Juliana runs all of our technical marketing. She was like, we can let them put their name in at the end to give them the report. But they think it's anonymous at the beginning. If we just move when they put their name into the end, they'll be honest with us and they want the report. They gonna think the report is anonymous, but we got to email it to them. So they got to put in their information to get the email. Boom. Now, how many people have gone through and they don't know that? Right? Somebody may try to copy our surveys, but that one little nuance thing, they wouldn't have found out because they're not doing them. Is this making sense? Why we're teaching these little things that seem like nothing, but they are really, really, really important because I don't want to compete. Let me say it again. The businesses that we know and like and trust, they don't have any competition. You don't jump into business to compete. You jump into business to win. I know that's not popular, and it's a hard thing for a lot of us. But you want to win. I don't want to compete. I'm trying to win. Right? Speaker Hub's price is deliberately 10 times higher than all of our competitors. Why does it allow me to be able to do this for free? You see what I mean? You see how that is, right? Oh, well, do we offer coaching? Yeah, it's just built into the price. If we sell it as a separate add-on, now I feel like, man, they trying to get us to buy the same thing that I bought from such and such, and I bought coaching from them, and it didn't work. Cool, we're gonna give you better coaching for free, but we're just gonna build a price into the software. Why? Because in my surveys, people saying, I'm tired of paying for coaches. Cool, can't sell coaching to these folks. Can't sell coaching to them. That ain't what they want. Right? Willie ain't buying no more coaching. I promise you. Willie had he said, I'm done. I'm done with these coaches. They got me once, they ain't get me again. Right? But we have to listen. So we have to say, okay, well, do they need the coaching? Yeah, they just don't want to pay for it. Well, what do they want to pay for? They want to pay for easier access to speaking gigs. Is there a place out there where they can get easier access to speaking gigs? Yeah, they get these lists, right? But those lists, the reward of that list doesn't come for 6 to 9 months. So I get a list from, I don't know, some speaking company. I got to go through it on a CSV file. And then I'm pitching events that are happening next year. I ain't going to find out whether I get an event until when? 6 months from now. All right. So how can we get them a quicker win? While they waiting on that other stage, how can we get them a quicker win? They can talk at associations, right? Well, yeah, the associations is 2 months out. They paying us monthly. They need to practice. What's the difference between talking to somebody on a podcast and talking to them, talking to 400 people live and in person? Just the stage, but it's still focused on them. And the format is an interview versus a monologue. But they need to get better at both. And the interviews strengthen their monologues, right? We ain't got no competition. Find me another platform that offers podcast, local associations, press, and conferences all in one place. I own all three of them. Just being real with you. We do. We own all three of them. And we ain't ashamed of it. Right? Your competitors. Right? That's one. Here's our second one. That's two. You can go to the login page. They look familiar, don't they? This one probably gonna actually log me in because I was in here the other day. But they look familiar, right? But they're focused on different audiences. One is just for podcasts. One is to help writers get more writing credentials. And then Speaker Hub brings all three of them together. Right? But I had to decide by talking with each group, oh, well, look, our podcast booking folks, they never come into these speaking meetings because they don't care about speaking. The writing folks, they stay over in PR pitches. They ain't coming over here. You ain't never seen them say they want a speaker profile. They are writers. They're introverts. They not trying to be out here in front of everybody. But we go over there. Go over there. Hey, Jasmine, you want to go to that group? Cool. We'll put you over there because we know it helps you to build the speaking thing, right? So I talk about the surveys over and over and over because I assumed that most of you all are like me. You like to win. And the best races to win is when you're only competing against yourself. I'm the only person in this race. So I talk about it with a lot of pride. I talk about it with a lot of confidence because we've done the work. And we're only 9 months into this thing. Give me 5 years. Give me 5 freaking years. You don't stand a chance. Ask AJ. AJ remembers 2000 when PitchDB was terrible. And he made a charitable donation to buy a lifetime account at that time because he felt bad for me. Right? This during the pandemic. I'm like, this dude is buying public speaking software in the middle of the pandemic. Right? But, the pandemic was kind of going over a little bit at that time in 2020. But the moral of the story is sometimes there's a great quote that says we overestimate what can be done in a few months and we underestimate what can be done in a few years. Right? I don't think our problem as entrepreneurs is underestimating the long term. I think that's what we need to do. Like, hey, where am I going to be 5 years from now? Now, let me ask you a question. Bart, how long have you been talking on this topic?
Yeah, sorry about that. This is hidden. Since 2015.
Okay. So 10 years,
Yeah.
right? Janika, how long have you been talking on your topic?
Pretty close to 30 plus years.
Yeah. Right. You see that? Somebody using Chat GPT don't have the knowledge that Janika has. You can't look up what Bart teaches in Chat GPT. He was actually in a situation. You can't look that up. Jasmine, how long you been doing wellness? You muted. We can't hear you.
Close to 30 years.
Yeah. Right. Now, here's the other thing. Are there people that have been doing it longer? Yes. But our goal is to help you to refine your expertise so that it doesn't sound like all the other people who've been doing it for 30 years. So, real quick, here's the one thing that I know. TED Talks. What's the theme of TED? Do you know the theme of TED? Their little slogan.
Well, I just know what they do. You talk for like, I think 18 minutes or something like that.
Yep, 17 minutes on a red dot. Right. But what's their slogan? Do you know what the slogan is of TED? Let me show it to you. Right. So they changed it recently, but it used to be ideas worth sharing. Right. This used to be their slogan that was everywhere. It was on all of their stuff. Ideas worth sharing.
Mhm.
TED isn't a person, it was technology, entertainment, and design conference. Right. The actual TED conference it used to cost like $6,000. It's probably gone up since then, but it used to cost $6,000 to go to the actual conference, to the main one. Right. And it was the top leaders and thought leaders in technology, entertainment, and design. And then they realized that everybody can't afford to come because they're limited on space and things of that sort. But there's probably local thought leaders in technology, entertainment, and design in your area. So they did TEDx. The X was extension, right? And they're one at a time. You don't get a franchise. You get to do one event. So Steve Summers, who is a great friend of mine, um, and I've helped him a lot with his TEDx events. Uh, right, Steve and Misha, um, they've done all the TEDs in St. Louis for the last 12 years or so, right? But they have to apply for a new license every year. Every time you do an event, you got to apply for a new one for that event. They look at your old one, they rate whether you followed the rules. If you didn't, you can never do another TEDx event again. So it's, what have you done for me lately? Are you following our rules? Are you protecting the brand? So forth and so on. Right. So when I talk about I don't like how people can buy TEDx stages, it's because I know how hard my buddies work and trying to do this thing the right way. So yeah, I'm a rat. I don't care. I think it's sleazy. Why? Because I know how much work he put in for what he's doing. Right. I'm that close to that business in my mind because I was there with this when this photo was taken. Like this thing stood outside my office. That little aluminum trash can thing that they put together back here. I don't know if y'all can see that. But that's like made out of trash can aluminum. Right. Right. Like, so here's what I'm saying. Most of the people that we hear that want to do TEDx talks, they ain't got no ideas worth sharing. They say, I want to do a TEDx talk. I'd be like, oh, what? Well, I'm going to talk about how, and I'm like, well, yeah, they ain't going to prove that.
I'm still going to do my TED Talk this year. Remember, we had a pact when I signed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is pitch them, right? Now, the key is to find the idea worth sharing, that underlying story, right? That makes them say, yes, we got to have this person. Or you can find the theme one that's around TEDx women, right? Or one of the fitness ones or something like that, because they have different themes, right? But you find the theme that works for you. But the moral of the story is our product worth buying? TEDx's ideas worth sharing, or are we developing products worth buying? Are we developing services worth buying? Right? Because how many coaches are there out there? A lot of them. A lot of wellness coaches, right? A lot of business coaches. I'm gonna show you something that I think is funny, right? And then we'll open it up for questions about whatever else you all want to talk about. But I just thought it was interesting to kind of go through this because right. So we come on here and we can see there's a book here, Alex Hormozy. This book has 25,000 5-star reviews, right? 25,000, sold over 1 million, right? It's been Amazon bestseller, not for 30 minutes so you can take a picture, but he came out with a second one, 6,000 reviews, right? And then they made workbooks because you know what people did? They would come in, take this, and they would make their own workbook and sell the workbook to his book. So he created his own workbook to eliminate those who were trying to copy the workbook side of things. A biography of Alex Hormozy. Really, lady? Like, people are just piggybacking off anything. It's so funny, right? What are you doing, right? But why did I bring this up? Here's one of the best things about it. I would never buy this. How to Market a Book, he got 500 reviews. How to Market a Book, 23 reviews. Yeah, just go and take that out the store. Because we got proof that you don't know how to market a book. We got proof right here. This is BS. We ain't never thought of that, right? We're like, wait a minute, how to market a book? Wait. How to market your book on Amazon? 100 reviews? Yeah, bro. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one off. Right? But is that any different than the leadership coach that's never led a team? I'm not against, hey, I ain't knocking the hustle. I'm just saying we got leadership coaches that are upset that they're not getting booked to speak on leadership. And we heard Noel, what was the guy? Was Neum or Noel that was on yesterday? What was his name, Ange?
Like Neil Miles.
Neil. Hold on, I got it. Niles. Yeah, it was Niles.
Wow.
Yeah. Niles said, we gonna look at your stuff. We want to make sure that you real before you bring us in, before we bring you in to speak. Right? I'm just saying, like, a lot of times we default to things. We say, well, I want to do corporate leadership. Cool. Where have you led in corporate? You haven't. Cool. Well, go talk to leadership at universities because maybe you were the leader of the football team or something like that. But you ain't never led in corporate. Them folks ain't listening to you. Unless you got some outrageous story that, you know, I played in the sports or something like that, and this is how true leadership is, and I led in a hard time, blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm not being critical. I'm talking in general, not about anybody. I'm saying that if you want to be one of one, just got to do one-on-one shit, right? Got to do the cool stuff so that you can be the person that, yeah, I am this dude. I got this perspective and nobody else saw it. in all the human history, nobody quantified the 7 habits. You see what I mean? Like nobody just said, you know what are the things I need to do if I'm going to be like on top of my game? Well, I probably shouldn't wait around. Okay, how do we say that? Be proactive. All right. Well, all right. I'm proactively working on this. Well, what else do I need to do? Well, you probably should figure out where you're trying to go. How do I say that in a cool way? Begin with the end in mind. Right? Okay. Well, now I'm proactive. I know where I'm trying to go. What's the next thing you need to do? Probably need to order the steps. Okay. Put first things first. Right? And then you end up codifying this 7 habits, which is really 6. Did you all know that? That there's really only 6 habits? Right? Let me show you. Let me show you. Right? I'm gonna show you. It's really only 6. So the first one is what? Be proactive. You see it there? Begin with the end in mind. What steps do you need to take? And then think win-win. Seek first to be understood, then to understand, then to be understood. Synergize, and then sharpen the saw. Right? The first 3 deal with you. It's all about you on the first 3 things. What do you want? Most of us put our customers first, our family first, our partners first, our business first, all of these things. But in reality, you got to put you first. Because if you don't know what you really want and where you're trying to go, it's hard to get help from other people. So we do a lot of things here that a lot of you all don't understand why we're doing them. But we say, okay, hey, tell me what you do in one line. Give me in 2 sentences. What you got? If you can't describe it here, guess what? You can't describe it to the event planner, clearly. Right? So that lets me know you haven't proactively figured out what you're trying to do. You don't know where you're going, right? And you haven't put the things in place to do these basic things. But if you don't get that right, how could everybody ever think win-win when they like, if we hire this person, they gonna win because we paid them, but we lose, right? They didn't seek to understand us. They came pitching at the beginning. I do this and I talk on this. That ain't seeking to understand. That's seeking to be understood first. Is this making sense, Jadika? Right? And then they're upset nobody wants to synergize with them. Because the next 3 is how you deal with other people. But you can't confidently think win-win if you're used to losing. Or if you haven't done the work on your side, because you don't know what a win looks like to your opposition. That survey gives you what the win looks like on the other side. So you go into the negotiation with an advantage. Right? I'll give you a great example of this. Willie had an issue with someone. There was a win-win solution to that. They couldn't find one. We've all been in a situation like that where we had a issue with someone else that wasn't thinking win-win. They were thinking, man, I did my part. Yeah, but you just put a battery in the back of somebody go on every microphone and talk bad about you. Dude, I will look, give this dude his money back to take this battery out of his back. Because he's telling everybody else, don't deal with y'all. Does that make sense? We've all done it. Because what they say, it's 6 times harder to get a new customer than what it is to make a happy customer. If I just keep my customers and don't lose them, it's cheaper to do that, to do the right thing, than to lose them. One of the rules we have at Speaker Hub is before anybody cancels, we email them and they offer them a call to get on a call with me. I save 80% of refunds. Because they hop on a call with me. I'm like, look, let me just show you. Well, what can I do to make this a win-win? So that the $349 you gave us for the profile, you don't feel like you lost. Man, can I get access to the new thing? Cool. Not forever, but I'll give it to you for a few months. And you'll feel like this is a deal. Is that fair? Yeah, man, that would be great. Perfect. Win-win. I ain't have to give them the $349 back that they paid the other guy that I bought the business from, because I don't have that money. They didn't pay me, they paid him. Right? But I needed to win them because they're already a speaker. They already want to use our stuff. They're already invested money with us. How do I keep them? Now, why is this important? I want to bring this up because it's really, 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 really important. Our advantage, Larry knows this, AJ knows this, Bart knows this, and anybody else that's ever played any type of sports, Ange definitely knows this. 90% of the game is won before the game starts. It's won in practice and in strategizing on how you're going to defend this person. What are your counters if they do this thing? How are we going to run this play or whatever? It is won before the show starts. In fitness, you don't go to the bodybuilding competition and start lifting weights. The competition was won 6 months ahead of time when he went to the gym and he started dieting and working out and all of those things. In boxing, in those 8 weeks of training, that boxing fight was won or lost. In our situations, if we get this right, knowing what we want, we're proactively doing the things we need to do to get an advantage of and understanding who we're dealing with here, the game is over. So my original point was there's only 6 habits. Sharpening the saw is continually getting better at this. Right? That's all that sharpen the saw means. How do I get better at this part again? Synergizing involves dealing with other people. Seeking first to understand, then to be understood. Listening. Thinking win-win. Understanding how you can benefit the event planner. So here's how it applies to speaking. So, first thing we got to do is decide we want to be a speaker, right? And then we got to decide what type of speaker we want to be. Do we want to be paid up front, or do we want to speak to get paid? Or do we want to do both? But you got to decide that ahead of time. You don't waddle your way through and discover that. Pick a lane, red or blue pill. Right? And then once you pick your lane, put the things in order that you need to do in order to win at that game. So if you're saying you want to get paid more because they're not paying you enough now, well, okay, how do you speak to get paid? Well, I can sell a course, I can sell the training, I can sell this, I can sell that. Cool. Show me your course. Well, I don't have one. Cool. So stop everything else, work on the course. Go on the podcast to work on your message, but got to focus on building this course, or at least outlining it. At least got to get an outline of what my core framework is that I teach and how I help. And is it something that people would pay for? That's why the surveys come in. What do I need to do? I need to go talk to some people. I need to find out what they really want. Got to find out what their real pain is. Got to find out how they've addressed it in the past. Ain't got nothing to do with being on stage. And then, you know what I do? I come into Speaker Hub. This is where Speaker Hub comes in. Man, which one of these organizations need what I'm talking about? I help women that are in corporate America that get burnt out. Man, wait, that's the Society for CFOs. Yeah, that's in corporate America. I'm going to see if they'll let me come in to talk about burnout and whatever. But I got to decide that before. What do they get out of it? They get a great speaker. What do I get out of it? I get in front of the people I want to be in front of. Does this make sense? But if I didn't do the survey, I don't know. If I don't have my products and services ready, when I go on the podcast, I ain't ready. So I ain't going to get no sales. My community's not going to get bigger. I'm not going to be a thought leader. I'm going to be somebody that was interviewed on a podcast because I don't have any leadership worthy thoughts about this industry. So then now when you get the meeting after you reach out, because you thought win-win, you figured out the ones you want. Now you've reached out to Larry's organization, and when you get on the call, you just listen. Why? Because you just listening for him to confirm your assumptions in your original thought process of think win-win. I'm not here to sell, I'm here to confirm. We always say, I ain't looking for information, I'm looking for confirmation. I got more information about him than he even knows because I've talked to all of his competitors. Right? So I'm just looking for him to make sure he's on that lead thing. He goes from a suspect to a prospect. You remember? I mean, all of this ties in together, guys. Now he was a suspect before I emailed him. He became a prospect when I started listening to him. Right? But then when do I close the deal? When I suggest how we can synergize and work together. How can you bring me in? It seems like you all remember we role played with Darren. So what type of speaker are you looking for this camp? Oh, well, what's something that ain't working? Boom. What's the topic you haven't covered? Boom. Well, what's this? Boom. Cool. Now Darren gets to talk about because he has knowledge that she don't have. Knowledge about them and knowledge about himself and his own capabilities. Now, who's suggesting the synergy? Darren is. So sales isn't about convincing somebody, it's about properly leading. But if you haven't come to grips with where you're leading them to and what that should cost and what the value of that is and how it's a win to them, and then you didn't confirm that it was a win to them, how can you suggest confidently with trust that you all can synergize? And then you get better. These last 45 days, boy, I've been getting kicked in the balls every day, 20 times a day. They use both feet too. Their left leg get tired and they start with their right leg. Learning a lot about this business by doing these interviews. I hadn't been doing this many like sales calls. I do a bunch of meetings, but I had been doing a bunch of sales calls for years since the beginning of the business. So to get back in there, meeting with folks, hearing what's really going on, I'm like, oh yeah, we had this all the way wrong. Right? So you're watching us get better in front of you, but I got a long-term view. I'm years ahead. I'm thinking, okay, here's what we'll be this year. Here's what we'll be in this year. Right? Jasmine, go ahead.
No, when you were speaking about preparation for where you're going to do, I said you wouldn't believe like boxing is a life and death situation. One wrong move, you could be out. So the preparation that goes in there, it's really weird. It prepares you for life. It really, really prepares them. They have to plan and maneuver way before the night in Vegas or wherever it is. And that's why Lennox became a chess player, because playing chess helps him to anticipate the next move. And that's what you're saying to us now with the survey is, you have to anticipate the next move. If I do this, what's going to be the outcome of that? If I do this, what's going to be the outcome of that? And that's how we win. So great life lessons.
Oh, 100%. And those came from Stephen Covey. Right? So, I mean, but this is the format that I use. Like, I love this book. It's always been one of my favorite kind of things to keep me straight because it forces me to deal with me first. Right? Now, I know for us to get to where we're trying to go, we're going to have to bring on salespeople. Right? So, I had to write the sales playbook for how we're going to sell it. So, I've done 400 meetings since March 1st. Right? We got another 15 a day. I'm just beating my head against the wall, getting killed. And then, as Valencia people show up that I wasn't even expected to be on the calls. And I'm like, yo, you're here, let's do it. We ended up talking for 2 hours after that call, Valencia, right? Right? So, is this any questions about the concept? Is this helpful to know why I've been banging these surveys like, hey, do it, do it, do it? Because now you don't have to, nothing is required here, but it gives you an advantage over everybody else. right? Remember we talked about the McDonald's? Watch this. Close your eyes and smell McDonald's. You know what McDonald's smell like. Everybody knows what the inside of a McDonald's smell like, right? It is a unique smell of salt, French fries, hamburger grease, and mop water. Right? Right? That's McDonald's. You smell it as soon as that door open, and because they got the two doors, the vacuum pulls from one door and it pulls that stinky smell out there. And we go in and we like, yeah, I'm about to get me a hamburger. I know where I'm at. Right? But we also know the smell of Chili's or Applebee's. It ain't quite McDonald's, but it ain't quite 5-star Ruth Chris either. It's like, it's better than McDonald's, so it's probably gonna cost a little bit more for a meal here. But then when you go into Ruth's Chris, you don't smell nothing. You Chili's, you smell fajitas, right? Right. But in Ruth's Chris, you don't really smell nothing. They got the vent system that pulls all the smoke out because they firing up them smoky steaks in the back, and they don't want it to smoke up the whole place. We all been to a restaurant that where they grilled and you walk out smelling like grill, or you go to a fish restaurant, you smell like fish. Like, dude, they done fried me. They done put me in the grease, right? People can smell the level of intent of what we're trying to do. Hopefully, when you all come here, you all feel that this is bigger than Ron, that it's bigger than Speaker Hub, that there is an exchange going on in between our information and making you all better, but it makes us proud to have you all out front, right? Talking about the great things that we've been able to help you to do. The best way to help somebody is to help them. I know that's crazy to a lot of people, but the best way to help somebody is to help them, right? But be sure that you get what you want out of that help. So when someone approaches your business, what are they going to smell? Are they smelling McDonald's? And there's nothing wrong with McDonald's. They're doing really well. Are they smelling Panda Express, which is a little bit better than McDonald's? You still smell that orange chicken though, right? Or are you smelling Chili's? Or are you smelling Ruth's Chris? Or are you smelling Chez Foufant? I don't even know if that's a real restaurant. Some French cuisine, 19 course meal. It costs, $9 for a glass of water. And all the meals are the size of this little battery pack. You're like, this is a steak? Who chewed my steak before they brought it out here? And they put some sauce on it, right? But the 7 habits affect that, right? Yeah, square plates, exactly, right? It's like, wait a minute. Like the fancy buffet, they just call it tapas. That is a buffet. It's just a buffet at my table, but it's a buffet. We all got to share these same plates, right? All right. Any other questions about this? This was a really meaningful topic to me because it's something that I think it's something that we all know, but we just need to be reminded, like, hey, the more I get better, the better advantage I have when I talk to the people that I'm trying to sell my products and services to. Right? Feedback, thoughts? Willie, Valencia, Kevin, Sharon, Cardis, Nicole. Feel free to argue with me. Like, if y'all think I'm full of crap, this ain't a dictatorship.
No, it makes sense. A lot of stuff you're saying. Now, I've been through things. I've tried to do business. I was in a hurry to get done and made a lot of mistakes. I was trying to do import export, and this guy came up. I was greedy. I mean, well, not just hungry. I was greedy. I wanted to make deals. And this guy said, "Oh man," he said, "I got this opportunity for you. Uh, I need tons of chicken, and it's going to, I think it was South America, somewhere in South America. He said, I need chickens." And so I went through and did all of this stuff, got the things up, found a freight forwarder, and found a company that would supply the amount of chicken he was talking about. But I had to get it to him by 12 o'clock on Friday. At 10:30, I started calling them on Friday. I did not hear from that guy. I kept leaving message after message and didn't come. Then on that Tuesday, when we had a meeting again at the chamber, he was saying, I had this offer for it. Nobody put in for it. I called him a liar, and I found out that the guy, he was full of bull. He didn't have anything going on. I lost the deal on it, but I mean, well, I didn't lose it because there was no deal. He didn't know what he was talking about. He was just getting people excited about it. So I didn't lose any money on that one. I didn't put anything up front. Didn't have to put anything up front at all. So it was a good deal. But it's do your homework, be proactive, productive, and proficient. That's my new key for me. So yeah, it's there.
It's important.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all that's part of life, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like we used to say, there's two people in life. There's people with the money, and there's people with experience. And if you let the people with experience talk long enough, they're gonna end up with the money, and the people that had the money gonna end up with an experience. And it usually ain't a good experience on the other side, right? So we've all been in situations where we could have been better prepared to kind of smell the McDonald's. They promising us Ruth Chris steak, but we walk in and we smell mop water. Yeah, I ain't eating there, right? Anything else?
Even
We're
been
right
White
on time.
Castle. May not have been McDonald's, may have been White Castle that was smelling too. So.
Yeah, White Castle. I mean, there's a couple smells that come from White Castle before, during, and after you eat them. If you've ever had White Castle, you know what I'm talking about. White Castle, Crystal, same thing.
Yeah.
The gas burgers, right? Nicole, what's up? Nicole
Good,
turned
just
on her
gross.
camera.
I've been listening. I'm just over here like, that's nasty.
Hey, it's part of it. We would die if it didn't happen,
Yeah.
right? Any other feedback before we head out?
Yeah,
Any
I
comments?
agree. Oh, I was gonna say I agree with the surveys. They prepare us for our business. They help define our customers. They help in a lot of ways. They help us talk about our products. They help in a lot of ways. That's a really good strategy. We just have to get used to giving them. You have to get past
I mean, but
the
it gives you a perspective to take the stage too,
yes.
right?
Yes, it does. And it gives us research as well as lead generation, like I had put in the chat. So I
Yep.
like it. I just got to do it more. Got to do more of everything.
Yep.
I have an announcement, Ron, before
Okay.
we head off. For those of you, if you're a lifetime member and you did not receive that email about the speaking opportunity, please just send me a message right now and I will forward that email on to you to make sure that you can get in contact with them. So they sent a detailed description of the event and I want to make sure that you receive it. So please send me a message now and I'll send that to you.
Yeah. Be sure to add Nicole to that. Nicole has lifetime also.
Okay.
I'm trying to see who's on here that
Thanks. Just
yeah,
text me you're
yeah.
welcome. Just send me your email
Because I got to update the list of
address.
because we pulled some new lifetime people in from a different sign up form. So I have to get that over to you guys.
But send me
But
your email because I don't know. Perfect. Thank you all.
yeah.
I'm gonna copy them.
A lot of cool things coming up, guys. We're 2 minutes into overtime. A lot of cool things coming up. The Pro Speaker Summit, the spring edition, was supposed to happen in April. We've pushed it back so that it'll kind of be our anniversary event for the 1 year anniversary of us owning Speaker Hub. That'll end up being our main event for the year, and then we'll do the smaller summits throughout the year. But we needed them to line up. We didn't want to do something in April, have to do something right back again in June. So we're trying to get our calendars right so that we can be consistent with it over time. So that's one of the exciting things. I think next week we will be able to let the first the first group of people, which are the lifetime members, into the new Speaker Hub platform, where you can see the new speaker profile. This call will move eventually, probably the first week of May, inside of the new system. You'll be able to sell your products and courses. You get to try out and help us bug fix, find all the bugs in the new system. It's not required, it's just voluntary. But your feedback is greatly appreciated because understanding how you all will use it is important to us. So there's about 150 people that have lifetime accounts, I think, more or less, that will have access to this in the next couple weeks. Any be sure to add Carter's to the list too. I know Carter's has. I don't know if he's on there already, because I know he came when we had the new.
Yep, I sent it to him this morning.
Yep. Carter's, did you did you get a refund from us on the one charge?
Yeah, I think I can't.
Should have been like a
I,
week
I
ago, because the other one hadn't been canceled since you had
okay.
upgraded.
Yeah.
We
I
got
did.
the refund back 2 weeks ago.
Yep, I got that.
Cool. Any other questions? This is really cool, guys. If you are interested in speaking at the Pro Speaker Summit and you have a product or service that has done at least $100,000 in sales, we would love to have you talk about it at the Pro Speaker Summit. Why do we have to set that limit? Because if you've sold $100,000 of anything, you probably know enough about that product and how to sell it to be able to share it with people how they can do it. That first $100,000 in sales is the hardest. So we want to use that as our benchmark, because everybody don't want to make $18 billion. Some people just want to be able to replace their job, right? But sometimes when we bring the people on that has done $10 million, they're talking about systems that don't work for someone who just wants to be able to replace their income at their job. So we're trying to bring on people that have done a mix of, hey, I've done this and I was able to make this amount that allowed me to not have to go to corporate anymore. Or the person who's saying, I'm right here and I'm stuck. I want to get from $500,000 to 3 million. So we'll have a range of people. Does that make sense? But we don't want the blind leading the blind, because that's what we talk against all the time. So we got to practice what we preach. But if you have a product or service that you sold $100,000 in 1 year, not overall, not
over 10 years.
yeah, we ain't doing $10,000 over 10 years. Right? I always joke, I talk with salespeople all the time, and I'm like, yo, man, so how long you been selling? Oh, I've been selling for 20 years. And I'm like, oh man, okay, cool. You never went into another position or did anything else? They're like, nah. I'm like, okay, this person has 10 years, 2 years worth of sales experience, repeated 10 times, right? He's just gone from company to company, never got promoted. He's been doing the same sales over and over. He don't have a lot of sales experience. He's been repeating. He's been in what they call a Groundhog's Day, right? But a lot of us do that too in business. I was stuck in Groundhog's Day with as a financial advisor for the first 2 years. I couldn't get over the fact that I had to help people that I wasn't comfortable with. I was trying to sell investments to people in the hood. They ain't got no money. But I thought they understood me most. And I was the smartest dude in the hood that could talk about investing. So I was comfortable there. But I was the tallest little person, right? I'm the tallest little person. I'm like in the hood talking about making money, and I ain't got no money. But I knew my strategies was right. But I had to realize, hey, Ryan, why don't you get better first? And then get out of your comfort zone. So I got better over time, right? And we've all been through that rinse and repeat cycle. So I want to make sure as speakers, we don't go through that I can push you a little bit to the next level, so that you could actually be the thought leader that you were made to be. One last question, but any other questions before I go? And I'm gonna leave you all with the thought that
Valencia has a question. Valencia
Yep.
asked, is the summit virtual or in person?
Yes, the summit is virtual. It is online. We prefer online because it's just easier. We may do something live one day. The thought was to do something live this year, but maybe not. But we might. Bonnie, what's up?
May I ask a nuts and bolts question about speaker
Of
QR?
course. Yep.
Okay. So you made it clear the last time I asked about it that you do them individually for the podcast, and I've got that figured out. Some of you that I'm looking at have their speaker QR here in your background. So how do those work? If somebody's just seeing you, listening to you, and want to look at the one in your background, then they're not individual like you would do for podcasts. How are people figuring that out? Please, thanks.
Yeah. So a lot of times, let's use like Ange. If Ange is on a podcast, right, she would hopefully change that in the background, right? But her QR, that's not that QR that Ange has. I don't think that's a speaker QR because I know what ours look like. What QR? Huh?
This is a speaker hub. It takes them to our website. The
Yeah.
speaker QR will have my face in the middle.
Yep. So
Okay.
so
Well,
you can use different.
Jadika's beautiful background has the one with
Oh,
Jadika's
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
What does that lead to, Jadika, when it's just back here?
Try it out.
You following the QR code, I have my link in there in terms of for testimonials. And that's what it comes back to when somebody highlights my QR code.
Yep. So Bonnie, I want to make something really clear. The strategy that I gave you with creating a separate one for each one, that's a higher level strategy. Does that make sense? So you can just have one. You can just have one QR code. You don't need 13, right? But I was just showing you how I did it. I would do a separate link for each one because I want to track individually, but it's not required, right?
Okay.
So
Well,
it's like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's much better as far as on podcasts to say, hey, I was on Ron Story's You Be Cool podcast rather than something generic, right?
Yeah.
But I also then that's where I was confused about. Like Jadika, you're saying that can just lead to anybody reviewing you as a speaker. I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Exactly.
I like
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
them individually. I think that makes sense for the podcasts themselves.
100%. Right. So that's why we give you unlimited. But again, there's 100 ways to skin a cat, as they like to say. 1,000 ways to skin a cat is what they used to say. Peter, don't call me about that. I didn't make that up. Right. Animal rights activists do not hit me up about this. Valencia, another question?
Yeah, that brought up another question for me. And you may have gone over it already, but when we do have use that QR code, and I see that they are filling the information out, can that lead to like a freebie that we have? Or
Yep. So on the other, when you set up the QR code, there's a
Mhm.
space that says resource link.
Okay.
Do you see that?
No, I don't see it right now, but
Okay.
I'll trust you on that. I'll go in
When
there.
you go in and create a QR code on the same page where they ask for the name and the color, it says resource link. That means that's the link where you can put the link to your book, the link to a download or whatever. We don't allow anybody to upload stuff to our server, but you can host it on your own Dropbox, Google
Gotcha.
Drive, or something like that. And you put the link in there that you want them to go to. It could be a YouTube link, any type of link goes in there.
And
What I
then,
have,
I'm
what I
sorry.
have on mine, it's a download. I have my resources a download, so they get a free download based upon whatever I was talking about is on my QR code.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
me too.
And some people will diversify those. Like depending on the podcast, you may have a particular download for that podcast, right? One of the strategies we talked about is you don't have to create the resource until after the podcast because the podcast ain't coming out today. It's usually going to come out a week or two later. So now you got a week to put together the checklist or whatever you wanted to customize for that particular audience.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It's there, Valencia. I can do it, then you can do it. Trust me. It's there.
Okay. And it's one link per, so we can't have different QR codes, right? I mean, just one QR code and we can change that link
No.
at that resource.
No, you can make a QR code for every podcast you're
Podcast.
doing.
Oh, that's
That way
good.
you know where your leads come from.
Exactly. And we get of course, we get the email addresses and all so that we can start nurturing those on our own,
Yeah.
right?
Watch this. I'm going to show you something. Check this out, right?
I know you
So,
got the answer, Ron.
oh, of course. I mean, that's my job. My job is to have an answer. So I'm going to show you something. Check this out. So Ron Story Jr. and Pam Perry, right? So I was on Pam Perry's podcast about.
We can't see your screen.
I know I got to look it up first. I ain't want
I
to.
love Pam. That's just my little plug.
Oh
She's
yeah, Pam is
awesome.
cool. Yeah, Pam is really cool, right? So, right. So here I'm gonna share my screen with you, and Pam's podcast is live, right? So she has live people in the audience and live people in the room, right? So just a warning: if you ever go on Pam's thing, you know you ain't gonna have time. You better have your stuff ready before you get on there, because she's gonna tell you, no, mine is live. There's gonna be people in the Zoom. They're gonna ask you questions live on the podcast, right? So I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna go to transcript YouTube, right? YouTube to transcript. I'm gonna put my link in here, and it's gonna go and pull this video that I was on with her, and it gives me the transcript. Got it? I just copied the transcript. I'm always trying to get better. Like, I'm not one of them people. I am very coachable. I will argue with you, but I'm coachable, right? Give me a rating on a scale of 100 of my performance on this podcast.
Wow.
Be as critical as possible. I need to get better. And then I'm going to hit this, right? So I got an 87 out of 100,
Oh,
right? It's going to tell you what I did good and what I did bad. And a lot of these things, y'all going to say, yep, you do that. I know. Y'all hear me every day. Y'all going to say, yep, you do that. You need to get better at that still. So audience engagement, all right? The back and forth banner with Pam was natural. Your confidence created a safe room. I did use some examples. Chipotle, that Chipotle thing ain't new. I've been using that for a long time, right? But what do I need to get better? I could have previewed the journey from the start, talking about, going over the 4 growth hacks, the speaker flywheel, like professional polish. Your strength is raw delivery, but you can look to improve some areas to work on. Reduce the filler words, slightly overuse of the word right. Y'all hear me do this every day.
Every day.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But it used to be really bad. It was worse than this. Right. So now it tells me what I can do better. Does that make sense? So I made sales from this. Rate my sales skills in this interview. Right. So now it's going to tell you how good I am at selling. Look at that. I'm a better salesperson than speaker. That's why I teach selling from stage. Right? Most speakers, you see, I just did the right thing right there, right? Right there again. Most speakers have cleared all of those crutch words out. I haven't, but I've cleared all the inability to sell. Right? There we go. So you can see my authority and story combo, 20. Demo that sells itself, right? Handling this, objections before they come up, preempting. That means that I know my audience before I even talk about the product. So I've already gone into what they're going to run into and what they're going to ask. Does this make sense? This is how we get better.
What you just gave us is you just dropped gold bars.
Oh,
Then
it's
we
gonna be
can
built in
go
the speaker hub in
back.
the next week.
Wow. We can go
Yeah,
back. Oh gosh, this is good.
right.
Mm.
So now, so we hear. I used to hear all the time. You can let Alfonso in. It's my 12:15, but he's a little bit late and he's scheduled twice, so that's fine. But one of one of the things that I know is speaking is a lonely business. So we get all the claps on our back. Hey man, that was good, right? But the people who hated us, they'll never come up to us and tell us nothing. The people who didn't think we were that good, that were annoyed by our little crutches, they didn't come up and tell us that, man, you need to stop that. I can make this better, right? Kevin has some speaking experience that I don't have with Toastmasters. So he has some presentation advantages that I don't have, right? I have some sales skills that maybe some other people don't have. So we're all trying to get better, but leaning on the things that we're strong at. Does that make sense? But that's a way to get feedback, Valencia, so that you know. Now watch this. Check this out. Alfonso, how are you? Are you there? I think you're muted.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
here right now. Hello.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
I
all.
have you on my calendar for twice today, so I didn't know which one you were going to show up to.
I'm at this one. Yes, my assistant showed me. Did it by mistake. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So I'm Ron Story. I am the head of membership and product at Speaker Hub. This is our daily co-working call meeting. And these are other speakers that we work with from around the world that use Speaker Hub as a way to get booked on more stages.
Okay. Nice to
So,
meet you. Yeah.
yeah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Alfonso Morales. I'm a physician, 35 years of experience that I've been in practice now. And my specialty now is mainly anti-aging topics and how to use technology to assist us in that. You know, I'm very interested in doing corporate wellness, speaking engagements, and talking about how to live longer and better and or a higher quality of life. That's what we're trying to do. My background is in pain and addiction, and that's how I started getting interested in the holistic aspect of treating those two things.
Cool. You should meet Jadika. Jadika works with pain. She's like the pain genius. And I think you all have some great conversations outside of here. So Jadika, meet Alfonso. So
Nice to meet you.
Alfonso, if you could give me 3 minutes to finish up a little concept that I was teaching, I think you'll learn a lot from it. And then we'll end this meeting and then it'll just be you and I. Is that fair?
That's fair. No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So now you see how I took the transcript, guys, and I just posted that in there? If you do what we talk about when we ask you to ask for a recording or allow your Zoom to record it on your side, you'll get your own transcript, right? So now I can take that transcript and say, create a lead magnet that I can give away to those who watch this on YouTube, right? Based on the transcript above, right? So now it's going to give me something that I can use. Now I can take it and make it prettier, right? But it's going to give me everything I need. Does that make sense? So now all I got to do is, it even gave me suggested a promo code where they heard me or whatever, right? So now it's going to go ahead and put this thing together, which is bananas. I don't really want it to do it, but you can see it's going to start going in and building this, right? And tells you all the other things you can do. Now you can say, give me, I like this, but give me 5 other ideas that aren't ebooks or that aren't guides like this one. So you can do an email-based challenge, right? You can say, hey, join the challenge, join the 5-day get off of sugar challenge, join the 5-day anxiety relief challenge, right? And it's just a 5 email series that you send to them with a meditation that they can do or something, right? Behind the scenes, I can make a quick video showing them how we book so many meetings every month. Is this making sense, guys?
Yeah.
Right? So these resources, this is already built inside of Speaker Hub Pro. You can already do this currently inside of Speaker Hub Pro in the framework section. The only thing you can't do is get your feedback and the coaching from frameworks just yet. But you can get the product suggestions. That's already there. So you can already have some of these things already queued up. Again, being proactive, right? Beginning with the end in mind. Make those 5 resources ahead of time. And then based on the podcast, you just lean into the one that you already made. So you're not creating new downloads every time. Got it? And how do we currently do this? We currently do this with our frameworks. So when we go into Canva, and Maria has done a great job of documenting our frameworks. So we're up to 99 frameworks now that show all of the things that we do. So we can give away, hey, here's the formula, here's the recipe for getting booked on podcasting associations, right? They got these little things that they've created. That's my little testimonial, our speaker QR, blah, 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 right? But we make these the marketing momentum framework, right? Remember we talked about, well, what do you need to do before you get the gig? And what do you need to do after the gig? You see what I mean? Like all of these things that we teach, we turn them into frameworks that people can download. So when you see Maria in here, you know what Maria's doing? She's taking notes. And then she says, Brian, I think we came up with something. And she develops these things for us. The producer and the talent. You put on your own events, you get hired by other people's events. We don't really talk about that a lot, but that was a framework that she built for us. Before, during, and after. You've seen all of these, right? So, but guys, hopefully this was helpful to give you some ideas on why being prepared and knowing where you're going is probably the most important part of getting booked for a speaking gig. And it's definitely the most important part of making sure that even if the gig is free, you still get paid on the backside. Was this helpful? Right? I can't wait till we add that coaching part to where you'll be able to, put in your link to your video and it grabs the transcript and gives you the coaching right off the bat. So you don't have to go through all of those different processes, but that'll be in there. That's something we're working on right now. So, all right. Well, guys, thank you. I appreciate it. I need to be respectful to Dr. Morales and have our conversation, but I'll see you all tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Dr. Morales, where are you calling in from?
I'm in the Twin Cities. I'm in